Hi guys, today we are going to talk about your midterm question, and I looked through your final question, and the form would be pretty much like the pretty similar with the midterm question because the first part also multiple choice question, true or false question, and short answers. And I think if you can understand every single detail of your homeworks, midterms, and lecture notes, it would be much easier for you guys to get a high grade in the final. And I think the final would be also online exam. Okay, let's look at a question. Well, part one first, multiple choice question. In the short run, suppose that the inflation increases and the unemployment decreases. So for the AD and AS curve, we know that x-axis is quantity output, right? And the y-axis is price. So inflation increases, which means that price increases, right? And the unemployment decreases. Remember that according to Hawkins law, the unemployment rate would be negatively related to the output. So the quantity would increase. And which of the following events have most likely occurred? We can look at one by one. For A, let's write, draw the AD and AS curve, AS, AD. Okay, now in an increase in taxes and decrease in government expenditure. Actually, for both of these two reasons, it will cause the AD curve shift left. Because remember that for increase in taxes, which means that for consumers, they don't have much money like before because of the higher tax rate. And the government expenditure is an important part of the aggregate demand, right? So now the AD curve will shift left, which will cause the price decreases and quantity decreases. So not true. And for B, increase in both the wage and oil price because of the wage increases. And so more people want to participate in the labor market. So we don't know it from now. The unemployment rate will decreases, of course. But let's look at quantity. Because of the oil prices also increase. So which means that the AD for the there remember that the oil would be an important part of the input. So the AS curve will shift upward. And the result of question B is that price increases, quantity decreases. Also not consistent with what the this question describes. Okay, for C, an increase in government expenditure and increase in input price. For C, draw it again. The decrease in the government expenditure is here. Also, AD curve shift left, and the increase in the input price actually would be the same because we know that the AS curve will shift upward because the input price increases. Now we see that, okay, we don't know the direction of the price changes because we don't know how much AS and AD moves. Okay, so price we don't know, and quantity we definitely know that it will decreases. It will decrease. Okay, so for C, not true. Okay, and for D, the last one, ADAS. An increase in government expenditure, a decrease in oil price. Increase in government expenditure, so AD curve will shift right. And decrease in the oil price, the AS curve will shift downward. Okay. So, and now in this case, we also don't know the price direction, but we know that quantity will increase. So actually D is the most likely case that will cause the price increases, quantity increases. Okay, so D is the correct answer. Okay, so actually for question one, it is a little bit complicated because you need to analyze every case. So if you take the exam and you find the, okay, now the first question is already very difficult for you guys, then you can skip it and don't be scared, right? Maybe next question would be much easier. Okay, so now let's look at next question. Actually, a little bit tricky because now you know the annual return of US dollar and the euro, and now you see that the current exchange rate is 1 euro to $1.25, and the expected exchange rate changed direction. So if you want to be consistent and if you want to get your correct answer, you need to change it. Now, also consistent with, uh, if you want to change it, it means that expand it's 1 over the point 7. It is what? Let me use my calculator. It's approximately dollars. Okay. Now you know this information and you want to have the annual return on US dollar or US euro or euro, okay? For US dollar, it's 4, right? And for euro, is 2 plus, remember the equation, the expected subtract the current divided by the current. And this answer would be something like that. So for dollar, the return is 4%, and for euro, it would be 4.2%. So now you know what is the correct answer. It's B, right? Okay, so for question 1 and 2, a little bit tricky because for question 1, you need to analyze every case, and for question 2, you need to uh you need to convert the currency. Okay. Okay, now question 3. A permanent shock affects output inflation both in short run and long run. Yeah, of course, it is correct because the permanent shock would finally affects the long run AS curve. And Alkin's law represents a positive relationship. Actually, we know that the Alkin's law has a negative relationship between the unemployment and output. If the unemployment increases, it is because the output decreases. The currency depreciation leads to a shift in demand, both foreign and domestic, towards a domestic good. Yes, this is true because now the currency depreciation means that, for example, we are using dollars, right? If the dollar have the depreciation, which means that the things that we buy is much cheaper compared to other countries' goods. So other countries' people want to buy US goods, which will towards to the domestic goods. Question 6. If the US exchange rate against Japanese rate is above 1, then it's cheaper to buy the US dollar products. Actually, this is false because the real exchange rate means that which country's goods is more expensive, then which country's real exchange rate would be above 1? Okay. And for part 3, we have a short answer question. Actually, I don't know if you have realized that all these short answers questions come from your homework questions. First one, the Occam's law. Remember, the Occam's law is just that the unemployment rate equals the nature employment rate subtract sigma times 100 times y subtract y star to y. And this is our homework 2, right? And what you need to do is just to substitute all the values. Actually, I don't know why there are some students cannot get the correct answer. Maybe it's because of this 100. So, uh, actually, this is because of the percentage. So if you don't want to use this 100, then you change 6 to 6%, change 4 to 4%, then you don't need to have the 100. Otherwise, if you use 6 and 4, then it should be consistent because now you just remove the percentage mark, right? Percentage symbol, then you need to times 100 and you will get the answer. Okay, for question 2, suppose the both oil price and tax increases, what would happen to the overall price output and unemployment rate? So for this question, there are some marks, some notes. First of all, please to state your answers because some students just draw the figures like that and describe nothing. That is not good. Okay. And for 2, um, if you cannot get a full grade for this question, and the point would be that the direction of the price doesn't know. This is also our homework question. Remember that we don't know the how much AS and AD moves, right? So we don't know what would happen to the price. Maybe I will skip it because this is exactly the same with homework 2. Okay. Show the effects of positive technology shock in the short run and long run. So there's a positive technology shock. So the long run AS curve will shift right because of the positive technology shock. Then the output would increase significantly, right? And so in the short run, because in the long run it's already get to this point, so in order to get this equilibrium, the AS curve will also shift right. And what would happen? It will cause the output increases, right? And the price decreases, which means the unemployment decreases, which means inflation high. Decreases. Okay, and both in the short run and the long run. If you can state all the things, of course you will get the high grade. And for question 4, also our homework question, right? And I think I will show you guys just like that because this is exactly the same. Maybe just change some values. And so just like what I said, if you can understand every single detail of your homework questions and the midterms, and the lecture notes, because your assignment ends at assignment 3, right? The final exam would be something else like let me see, like the net exports, something like that. So I think this is the only thing that you need uh to not the only thing, I cannot say it because there's something else about definition, description, and so but I think you have enough time for it. And I will hold extra office hour before your final. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you guys.